Welcome. Welcome, everyone, to the Radio Toons podcast. How is it going?
It's going great, man.
Do I sound a little bit angry?
A little bit.
I'm Steve.
I'm Ernie.
No, I'm not angry. But it's very windy outside.
Yeah, like, the wife was like, is the tree going to fall over on our house? I was like, well, if it is, what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, well, we're here in blustery California. And there was all those fucking... You know the palm tree leaves? There's like a real name for them. Palm tree leaves were like all over the street because the wind is so strong that it's just blowing those off.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen a palm tree leaf thing, but they're like stuck on.
No, it's a whole branch.
Yeah, it's like stuck onto the side of the palm tree. So, yeah, and I could feel my car like moving as I was driving over to Ernie's house. Pretty nuts. So, I don't know. You guys are all, you know, with your snow and stuff. We got wind, okay? So
that's all we have here is wind.
We have heat as well.
Honestly, those Santa Ana winds, when that happens, dry out my eyes like crazy. Yeah. So my eyes are all itchy the next day. I hate it.
And we're not allowed to say it's cold here because, you know.
No, because then everybody from the East Coast is like, you don't know cold, man. You don't know cold.
Yeah, you don't have no idea.
This is California cold. Yeah. Like, all right, cool. Thank you for discounting my feelings. Thank you.
I usually like to start with like some kind of little news story. Nothing too exciting. But I noticed on Twitter that this guy named Ken Penders was trending, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and to people that don't know Sonic, that means nothing. Okay. But this man, Ken Penders, is a writer. I believe he's an illustrator too for the Sonic Archie comic series.
Oh, the one that Tyson Hesse.
No.
No, okay.
I don't. What do you mean?
I thought Tyson was also illustrator for
maybe
that
now,
comic.
but this guy was doing it back in like the 90s. Like I believe he created
Sonic Underground?
I believe he created like Sally Acorn or something.
Oh,
he created some
Sonic.
He created some of the good characters or something, and he has like I believe he said something like Knuckles has a cowboy hat in one of the Sonic cartoons, and he made that look or something. I forget. I'm really rusty on my Sonic knowledge. Sorry, I'm just going off the cuff here. I usually prepare myself, but
guys, he's going off the cuff here, man.
Long story short, this guy this guy says the most controversial, fucking weirdo things on Twitter.
Oh no!
Because he is like a real strange person when it comes to his like ideas. You know, when people. Like, he claims ownership over a lot of stuff, basically, like, that he created, and he's like, oh, Sonic should, like, they should credit me for this, and I made this, and he just...
Does he claim to have made the internet or shit like that, or...?
No, I think the most recent examples were just, like, he was saying something like, oh, gender doesn't matter when these characters have sex in Sonic, because, gender doesn't matter, it's all about procreation. So it doesn't matter what they're... Yeah, something weird. And then he was saying, like, yeah, so Sally Acorn was 16 when she lost her virginity. What? When she lost her virginity to that... So it was some other character or something, and I'm like, why is he allowed...
Why is he talking about this?
But yeah, it was great. Really funny tweets. Go check out Ken.
Funny tweets, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead check out Ken Penders on Twitter. You know, it's really funny too. The way this guy came to, I came to know this man, right?
Right.
The very first Comic-Con that we went to, it was like 2009 or 2008. The first Comic-Con I went with you at least. You probably would have gone before that. But the first one I went to, all my friends were just like, oh, get me something from Comic-Con, you're going to Comic-Con, and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll get something for everybody, right?
All right.
One of my friends was a fan of the comic books, and I was like, oh, you know what? There's a booth here, and this guy's got Archie comics. I'm gonna pick one up, and I'll have him sign it and everything. I didn't know that this man was Ken Penders that I was talking to, but I was just like, yeah, so let me get one of these comic books, and let me get a signature, make it out to one of my friends, yeah. And he's like, yeah, sure. And now that I remember, he did sit there and talk to me for about 4 minutes about how, you know, this issue had a lot of ideas that I created, and they just kept rolling with it afterwards, and I was like, oh, okay, like I don't.
Cool.
I don't really read the comics. I'm really more of just like play Sonic Adventure 2, and that's pretty much it. But yeah. And anyway, I brought the comic home to my friend, and he was like, "Ken Penders, huh? Who's this guy?" And he researched him, and he gave me all this info on him. And it just turned out to be hilarious. So I was like, "Cool, dude. Like if I could go back in time and get a comic for myself signed by Ken Penders, that would be hilarious. Cool. I would get that shit framed, dude, with like his tweet right next to it." like printed out in like one of those cool shadow boxes, like taking one to one of those like athletic places where they do memorabilia.
Put it in a straight up shadow box. Yeah. Oh my god.
They're like, I don't know about these tweets. You want these framed? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, totally.
Big time, and I got money, so don't skip
Money
on
is
that.
no object.
Yeah, I'm willing to pay for this. But yeah, funny stuff. Go check him out on Twitter.
What is his handle? Just Ken?
I don't know actually, but if you search Ken Penders like in the Twitter search bar, everything comes up. Like people that like are just talking about what he's done in the past and all this shit.
Good thing he's not directing any movies right now. They'll be like, oh, he's just been pulled.
It's weird too because it's like, I mean, yeah, whatever. I don't really want to get into it, but like that, I found about other stuff too, and I was just like. Apparently this Me Too thing is happening in like the fucking, I shouldn't call it Me Too'd, but like there was some drama this week about Pokemon content creators on YouTube.
Okay. And
one of them is like he would like harass 16-year-old boys. Like yeah, it was a guy on guy thing, and like it was just very strange, and I don't know the details, so I don't really want to get into it, but it was just
jeez, Steven.
I know, it just all sorts of weird shit happening this week. That's all the news I heard about, so but yeah, other than that, I haven't really been able to play Sekiro, which is the main thing I'm playing right now.
Right.
Cuz I've been working on a lot of commissions, and they changed my schedule at work. I've been busy. But I was going to say, I got an iPad Pro. I think it's Pro. I don't know. It's $250 on Amazon. It's cheap.
The Pro is like really big.
Okay, well this one was like the cheapest one I found on Amazon. It was $250.
That's probably, if I'm going to guess, that's probably Generation 6. It still has like the button that you do with your fingerprint ID?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Generation 6.
They don't have buttons anymore?
No, they do facial recognition.
Just take a blood sample now? Okay. Well, anyway, I also got the Apple Pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And Procreate. And fuck, dude, that is like...
Does it come free, or did you have to buy that?
Procreate?
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to buy that. It's $10 though. $10 for that program is ridiculous, dude. Considering I paid like $60 for Clip Studio Paint, which I use on my computer.
Uh-huh.
You know, like... Obviously, there's a lot of things that program does that Procreate doesn't, but...
Right.
For a portable station that I could take with me,
mm-hmm.
like I'm taking my lunch breaks and I'm drawing now, like at work. It's fucking ridiculous. Like it is really good. I would suggest anybody that likes art or like does commission or has work to do as far as like drawing or sketches, it is so good. It is like, and honestly, like for the past 2 weeks, I've only been using the iPad just because, like I said, my schedule's changed. I'm fucking tired when I get home from work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in my bed, and I'm drawing from my fucking bed, dude. And I put on Seinfeld, and I just fucking draw like for like 5-6 hours at a time, which is great. It's been like I've been like more productive, even though I've been somehow like less active. If that makes any sense.
Well, no, yeah, like the schedule changes always mess with your with you, so it makes sense.
But it's great, dude. I'm just now learning about because if I would say anything about Procreate, it doesn't really do a good job of like giving you a tutorial on things.
Right.
And I'm having to Google a lot of stuff like how do I duplicate a layer? How do I delete a layer? And it has all these gesture motions. I think I showed you some of them when you were in my house.
Yeah.
I was like undo is like 2 fingers, and then to do more options on a layer, you have to swipe the layer to the left. Mm-hmm. So it's like weird stuff like that. But something that's really cool about Procreate is that it records everything you do. Mm-hmm. You know, like fucking the CIA with the webcam. No, I'm just kidding. They it records every brush stroke and everything, mm-hmm. so you can have a time lapse of your entire painting after you're done drawing something.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah, because it's like something that took me like 4 hours today. I was like, I can still time lapse this shit, and yeah, it's like 3 minutes, but it's like it's there and it's going all fast and it looks all cool.
That's
and
so dope.
It's great, yeah, because it's like since it's like a tablet too.
Mm-hmm.
You have Twitter, you have Instagram, you have like Snapchat, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You just upload it straight to there from Procreate, so it makes it really easy to like share all your crap.
Actually, I did one of those on it, and I was able to save the video and then throw it into my Dropbox.
Yeah.
And then upload it later just from my phone.
Yeah, because like I mean, if you have all the other Apple crap, then yeah, like you can just AirDrop it to your phone or to your Mac or whatever. Like it works good with all the other Apple products. So the only like real big snag I ran into was the pencil died on me, and it wouldn't turn back on. And I had to completely resync it. And when I say resync it, I mean I had to go to the Bluetooth settings on my iPad and delete it, and then re-plug in the pencil, and then it started. Then it like basically repaired it, paired it, or paired it, not repaired.
Re and then paired.
As in paired again.
Yeah.
And then it started charging it, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like, why is there is no light or indicator of any kind on the actual pencil to tell you that it's got low battery or that it has full battery or that it's charging or anything." So it's kind of stupid, but whatever.
I think actually it might tell you that because on my Mac here, both the things that are wireless are Bluetooth connected to the thing. If you click on the Bluetooth icon at the top,
that works. Yeah,
it'll show you the percentage.
If I go to my iPad and I look at what's connected, it'll tell me the battery life.
Okay, I see.
But on the actual pencil itself,
nothing.
When I was looking at it, it looked exactly the same when it was working and when I thought it was dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
I do.
A completely bricked pencil will look identical to a fully functioning pencil. So
if anybody wants to sell somebody a default pencil or like a defective pencil,
I was freaked out too because it was like Sunday afternoon, and I was like, dude, I need this thing this week. I don't have time to go during the week. Like, I have to like run to the fucking mall right now and like see if the Apple Store can like.
Yeah, Steven called me.
Yeah, fucking jerk off.
And I was like, Steven called me like on Sunday like at 3:00, and I was like, is everything okay? Because he never calls me. He always just texts me, and he's like, and then I picked when he's like, oh yeah, I thought my pencil died.
I was just freaked out, dude.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like
it's a lot of money too for that pencil.
I know, and like I've had Apple products that just do that to me where they'll just die, and I'm just like, what the fuck, like. What am I supposed to do? I paid money for this. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the iPad and pencil. It's a pretty good purchase, I would say. It cost me about like $400 altogether. But
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's like considering the higher end alternative would be like a Wacom tablet and a computer, which is like fucking $2,000 or something.
Yeah, but it does so much more on there.
Yeah, it does.
It's
no,
worth the
don't
price.
get me wrong. Like I completely.
But something that you could take into your bed or take to work and draw and everything, I can see why that's very, very attractive.
Yeah, and there's also an animating program on it too because I don't know what it's called, but I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen people like animate from their iPad. So
neat.
I'm like, oh, badass, dude! I gotta get this now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said. I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld. You like Seinfeld, Ernie?
I do, but I wanted to tell you a game I was playing today, or this week.
Oh, all right. What have you been playing, Ernie? Let's hear.
So I talked about this a little. If you guys have been watching Toons, I've been playing Celeste. Or I should say, I played Celeste.
Okay.
Because I already beat it.
All right. Sounds like a long game.
It is not a long game.
Oh.
I would say it's a little less than a 10-hour game, probably like 6 or 7 hours if you're trying to kind of not speed through it, honestly, because I didn't speed through it. But it's a really nicely done. What do they call indie games? Indie
games.
In like big N and then D games. Like as in like Nintendo.
An indie.
Yeah. An indie game. There you go.
But they usually use that for their showcase of indie games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Celeste is definitely one of those. Right now, as a time of recording, I paid only like $13 for it because I think it was like only 30% off. But it's well worth the $20 as the price of admission. There's gonna be some spoilers in this. Honestly,
I haven't played it. What the fuck?
I know, but are you gonna play it?
I guess not. Go for it. You can tell me.
Honestly, though, the story is not why you're gonna go for it. But
I'm surprised to hear that because a lot of people do. When that game first came out, people were just like, "I will never kill myself now, thanks to Celeste," or like, "My parents got back together because of Celeste." And I'm
right,
like,
Steven, I think you're exaggerating.
And I'm
Nobody
like-
said that.
and I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess the story's
All
good.
right, listen.
I guess the story's good.
Listen.
Uh-huh.
The story has to do definitely with interpersonal communication. Like you start, like the whole thing is this lady, and you can name the lady whatever you want. I don't actually know what her real name is because I typed in Ernie. No, it's not Celeste. I typed in Ernie, and it's like Miss Ernie. It was like, oh, maybe. Oh, okay.
Okay.
But you, because you run into a couple people that are like on the mountain, and there's a guy that's trying to climb the mountain with you. His name is Theo.
Uh-huh.
And they called me Miss Ernie the entire time, so that was kind of fun.
That's pretty cool.
But it all has to do. The story is based around her want to climb this summit and kind of her inner monologue about climbing the summit. And it's like, can I do it? Yes, I can do it. And then there's parts where she's like, I can't do it.
Okay.
And then, yes, I can do it. Like, there's a lot of that.
Okay.
I won't ruin the story then because Steven hasn't played it, and I want him to have a tweet like that at the end where he said, like, there is world peace in the world now
Because of Celeste.
Oh
yeah. I will.
But so the best way I can describe this game is a mashup of like three main games, which would be Super Meat Boy, Mega Man, and what would be the last one?
You didn't have three in mind when you were doing this?
Well, because there's three aspects of it that I really like. It's like the Mega Man part of it is very like this square that you're in is a puzzle. You got to get from point A to point B on this little piece of the map.
Like a panel.
Yeah, like a panel, right? So you go through there.
Wait,
now,
does it scroll?
some parts.
Like when you jump, does the screen scroll to the next side, or is it?
Sometimes.
Does it scroll like Mega Man, where it's like all slow?
No, because like for example, Mega Man 6, the first part of like the Oil Man stage, as you're running through it, it scrolls, and then you go up a ladder, and it goes to like a single.
Oh yeah,
panel.
yeah.
So it's very much like that. It just depends what the puzzle is. So if the puzzle is a lot of launching you across the stage, then it's a long whatever. But each little set of panels has its own save spot. So as soon as you die, come right back like in a split second.
On the same screen?
On the same screen.
So that's like what you're saying is like Meat Boy.
Meat Boy
Okay.
and Mega Man in the same way. And then the last one I was going to say was kind of like, what is it? The mechanics in it are super simple.
Okay.
Like it's jump, and it's a dash, and then it's climbing. Those are the three things that you can do. With those kind of things, you can like wall jump, or you can grab onto a ledge and kind of climb a little bit. But she has like a meter for like how long you can hold on, because eventually she gets red faced and she just slips off the side of a mountain.
If there, can't Spectre Knight do that?
Spectre Knight?
If I remember correctly, didn't Spectre Knight, wasn't he able to run up the wall for a little bit before he
yes.
before he jumped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was also able to cling to walls, if I remember correctly.
Because he like did wall jumps like
yes.
zigzaggy or something.
Yeah. But Spectre Knight also had BAMs. He would just like throw a bomb underneath himself to launch himself up.
No,
and he could do that.
That was Plague Knight.
Oh, I'm sorry, Plague Knight. You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm talking about
I got them mixed up. Yeah, you're right.
I'm talking about the Spectre guy, the guy with the scythe.
Yeah.
The better one.
I loved Spectre Knight because he could do the little kick flips.
Yeah. The skateboarding thing? Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. If you like any of those games, like Shovel Knight, if you like Shantae, if you like any indie games that are really like platform heavy,
yeah,
you'll love this game.
That's good to hear, because the next one I was going to pick up was Hollow Knight. After I finally beat Sekiro, I was like, I'll get Hollow Knight because I hear a lot of good things about it. Sequel's coming out. But you're talking about this one, and you said this one was only like 5 hours, so I was like...
Yeah, so, like, again, it's only like $20, and honestly, a lot of people that I know that are playing it are having trouble with it, because some of these, because they only give you about 2 upgrades in the game, past what you normally have, but at that point, you're kind of built for those type of levels, you know what I mean? So, in the whole game, the only thing really keeping you from progressing forward is your skill. That's the only thing.
Okay.
So if you can't get past something, it's totally your fault, which I fucking love that about games. One thing I don't like about this game, though, there's no New Game Plus.
Okay.
So like the powers and everything you have at the end of the game,
Yeah.
I was like, that's one of the great things to do is to go back to the first level and be like, look at all these powers I have now.
Yeah.
Nope. They give you the powers that you're supposed to have in that set of levels.
Maybe it breaks the game.
It probably does, honestly. But I'm like, oh,
you know what though?
cool.
You were saying that it's like built for speedrunners because it has like a timer
It
and
is.
everything, and like, so maybe they were just expecting you to like, you beat it, well, beat it again faster. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So the reason it's built for like specifically that is that first of all, like it's got that whole like as soon as you die, you come back to the very beginning, and it's fast.
Uh-huh.
It's like a black bar just like scrolls over the screen and you're back at the beginning, like that fast. And then if you go into the options, there's a speedrunner's clock that you can turn on. So as soon as you start the level, the timer starts and goes until the end of the level. Then it'll give you your time at the end for
At
every
the end
like
for the end every level.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you could do like so it just adds them all up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. It's
It's
like
really
it's like
it's
a
really
tool
neat.
assisted.
Yeah.
Thing.
So you know the little quirks of the game that I really like the drawings and the 8-bit style of it are very cute. They're very, very nicely done, and like the drawings and the personalities of the both characters that are in it, which is you and this guy named Theo, super charming. Like the story is very nicely done.
Yeah, the art
very
look
cute.
The box art looked cool.
Yeah.
I always like how like indie games seem to just have like really crazy art styles. So that's cool.
Yeah, and then the bonus thing in this is like they measure two things when you're done with the level: how many times you died, which my record now is like 200 deaths in
one level.
In one level,
Okay.
they're long levels, all right.
Yeah.
And like you're looking for strawberries
Okay, like those as collectibles.
as collectibles, yeah.
Okay,
And then like the strawberry ones are like insanely hard to get, but it's kind of like a good incentive. And then the last thing I'll say, the great thing is that once you go back a couple times, you start discovering new little areas. You can get what are called B-sides and C-sides, which are little tapes.
Okay.
And so it's like a different remix of the level. But
cool.
like essentially the same pattern of the level. Like you'll still go like left, up, right, whatever. But the level itself will be like a harder version of that same level.
I want to say Super Meat Boy had something exactly like that.
I believe so too.
Where it would go from like being Meat Boy to being like a Game Boy remix of it, and it would be like the same level, but it would be a little bit harder because you'd be somehow, you'd have something less. Like I forget, but
Well, yeah. So essentially, this is like if you used to have 3 platforms, now you only have 2.
oh okay.
Or
yeah.
like you have more walls in your way that you have to navigate through.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool game. Honestly, it's a game that you should buy only because it incentivizes this kind of company to keep doing more games like this. It's charming. I mean, I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this story only because if you play it like on the handheld mode and everything and you listen to the music, which is, I haven't even mentioned it, but the music is beautiful in this game.
Good. All right.
Like I'm saying beautiful because while I was progressing and stuff through this level, I was like, man, this is some really good music.
That's always a good sign when you notice the music as you're playing the game.
Yeah, like it's so great. And then when you have these parts of the story that are really supposed to have this emotional kick, the music just crescendos in this great way. I don't know how to describe it, but it's fantastic.
That's cool.
So
All right.
overall, it's a great game, and then it has a lot of replayability. So I really highly recommend this game. Very, very great.
Okay. The eShop has a lot of sales too, so I'll probably see if I can catch it on a sale. I was telling you like last week I got that Fear Effect game for
it's
one.
like the third time you brought it up, and every time you say the same thing, you're like, it costs $1.
And that's what it's worth.
And that's what it's worth.
Hey, you know how it feels to get a good deal, all right?
Yeah.
It's like you talk about it.
Honestly, remember the game, the room that you and me played on Toons?
Yeah.
I got that for free, and I was like, it's worth way more than $1, but I love that I got it for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got it for free?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
You got it free on your Mac.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. Yeah, much like Jerry Seinfeld's dad, who loves a deal.
Oh, Morty?
Yeah, he says. Jerry says he doesn't care about the product; he cares about the deal.
Yeah.
That's what he gets excited about, or something like that. But yeah, as you can hear, I've been watching a lot of Seinfeld because I was telling Ernie a couple weeks ago, like, Hulu. What do I watch on Hulu? I need something good to watch on Hulu because I'm paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found Seinfeld. Little show called Seinfeld. I don't know if you guys have heard of this.
Tiny show called Seinfeld.
Yeah. But since I've been watching it, I've been getting all these YouTube recommendations. I don't know how they know that I'm watching Seinfeld, but they do. Maybe they hear it. Like
No, they're tracking you.
Yeah, somehow. But it's cool because I got all these interviews and stuff, right? Behind the scenes and like extras that are on the DVDs that people just post.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah. Because I didn't know this, first of all. I didn't know that Kramer is actually based on a real guy.
You told me that right before we started this. I was like, who is that person?
His name is Kenny Kramer.
Kenny Kramer?
Kenny Kramer. And he used to live next door to Larry David, creator of the show, co-creator of the show.
Right.
And apparently he used to come into Larry's house and he just used to steal his food. And he was like this kind of like womanizing guy that would just somehow make ends meet even though he like seemingly never worked, and like he was just like this anomaly, you know, like this.
Yeah.
So that's where he based the character off, and they have interviews with that guy too, because he's just like, apparently he's a comedian too. I've never heard any of his stuff, but it's just interesting because I was like, oh, I never knew that. Like, what the fuck? But so Larry David wrote him to be like that guy, right?
Right.
But when Michael Richards was like given the script or whatever, apparently he was just like, no, I don't want to meet that guy. I just want to do it my own thing, whatnot, you know.
Right.
And it was actually like a big amount of the extras were just talking about Kramer because everybody loves Kramer so much.
Well, they used to.
Yeah. I mean, phew, what a cheap shot. But yeah. Dude, that makes it such a tragedy.
We won't talk about that.
No, yeah, well, whatever. Everybody knows what happens to Kramer. But all right, Michael Richards, I should say. But they were just talking about how this guy like basically became the show at one point,
right?
And they had to even dial it back to one point because like there was a point, I guess, where whenever Kramer would enter, the audience would clap.
Woo!
Yeah. And Larry David had to say, like, okay, you guys need to stop clapping because this kid, like, we're wasting precious seconds of our show with you guys just applauding for no reason. Which I guess that makes sense because, you know, Larry David's not the one to be like, I don't want this to be a typical sitcom where, like, you know, catchphrases and all this shit.
Right. Because, like, if you remember correctly, things that you used to watch always had, like, a wacky neighbor.
Yeah.
They used to watch Full House, and it was Kimmy Gibbler, and then it was...
Yeah.
Family Matters was Steve Urkel, and then the same thing happened when Steve would show up. Woo!
Dude,
Steve!
He took over the whole show, dude.
Took over the show, man.
And, like, it's almost like a reason why, like, yeah, Urkel's famous, but he's kind of not that famous that you want to be, you know? Like,
because...
where he's just completely taken over the lives of everybody.
Here's the great thing about Seinfeld, right? And here's the great thing about how Larry David wrote it. Mm-hmm. There's always a main story, and then there's a B story, right? Which is kind of a regular setup for a sitcom. Mm-hmm. And Kramer just became that C story that was just like, he somehow affected story B and story A somehow.
Yeah, you know
like,
what? It's funny that you put it it's funny that you put it that way because there's a part where Jason Alexander's talking, right? Uh-huh. And he's talking about how he's trying to get into the mind of, like, the character George or whatever. Uh-huh. And he's like, he's talking like a fucking film student. Like, he's just like, everybody knows when you write a sitcom, you gotta have your A line and your B line, and then they both meet at the end,
right?
You know, and that's how
a typical sitcom works.
Yeah. And he's like, and Larry's writing these shows where it's like you have your A story, your B story, and your C story, and A and B don't end up going anywhere, and then C kind of closes it off somehow or something.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and he was just like, he was saying something like, he was like, what about the, you know, like, my character would never do this, or like, what about next week? And he's just like, I don't care about next week. I care about funny. Like, Larry basically just wanted it to be funny. He didn't really care about selling like the personality of the characters, I guess.
Right. Honestly, if I were to meet any of the Seinfeld crew, I would think they're complete jackasses because there's all four of them, which is an anomaly. All four of them are totally unlikable.
You mean the characters?
Yeah, the characters.
Not the actors.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
of course not. No, the actors. I would love to meet Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah,
but like all of them are selfish.
Uh-huh.
They're greedy. They're only out for themselves and possibly each other, even though they screw each other all the time. Like, they're not very good people, even though they would say that they're very good people.
Yeah, apparently when they were writing scripts, they would consult this little notebook that Larry David had, and there was all this shit that happened to him during his life that he thought was funny.
Right.
And one of them was he quit SNL like cursing people out.
Right.
And then he got home Friday night and was like, "What am I doing? I need to go back." And that's like that episode of Seinfeld where George quits his job and then he just comes back the next day and he's just like, "Oh, I didn't quit. What are you talking about?"
Is that Costanza back there?
So Larry David did the same thing, but apparently it worked out better for him, obviously.
Well, yeah.
But it was funny too because they're saying like George is like, "I'm trying to get in the mind of this character," and he's like, "Who the fuck would act like this?" And Larry David was like, "That's me."
It's me. I
acted like that.
What kind of horrible human being would act like this?
Exactly. So
actually, one of the ones that stuck with me that Larry David was talking about was the time that Elaine and Jerry tried to have this friends with benefits thing, and he talks about a girl that he used to have that relationship with in college, and that they would and how they also tried to avoid these kind of complications. And I feel like that's such a really genuinely like human story, but somehow on Seinfeld it's funny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, he took this real serious kind of moment in his life and somehow he just made it funny.
Yeah, and I think that's where the beauty of Seinfeld is, whereas like everything is actually based on some truth, you know? It's exaggerated, obviously.
Right.
But I think that's how all good sitcoms work. Is like they have like a base line of truth, or like something that could actually occur, but they just exaggerate it to a certain amount, you know?
Yeah.
Like Tim Allen obviously likes to fix things.
Oh my god.
Maybe he broke a fucking something once in a while, but you know, on Home Improvement he breaks everything, you know? So or like, I don't know.
I'm gonna go on a small tangent.
Sure.
Have you ever seen his stand-up?
Tim Allen?
Yeah.
No, is it filthy?
It's not really that filthy, honestly. But it's like, I saw it on Netflix.
Is it funny?
No. His act was essentially what Tim the Toolman Taylor is. He was going like,
okay, so that came from the stand-up.
It's just, it all came from the stand-up. Like his whole... What's funny is like his
that's his spiel.
He walked up on stage, was wearing the whole like Tool Time thing where like he wears the suit tie with jeans or whatever, but like the background was Tools and it just said Tim Allen. It didn't say Tool Time or anything like that. So it was like his stand up, but it was like men are pigs, but we like women and cars and and I was like, is this really his whole bit? It's like, yeah. And then he's like, guys would show up to his. Because like after the whole comedy special ended, they would show people coming out, and the guys were wearing like little pig snouts and be like, "Man or pig," and it was like, oh, he was like a thing before the sitcom. It's crazy.
Oh, that's weird.
Anyway, sorry.
If you were looking for a little more substance in those jokes, nope,
no,
there's none.
Nope, none at all. None at all.
That's funny. But I did want to bring up that, like, how I was saying that a lot of the interviews revolved around Kramer or Kramer related things.
Right.
I'm serious. It's like it's like he died or something, and these people were talking about him like he was just this fucking god that existed and no longer existed. Apparently, like some of the Kramer didn't really become Kramer until Michael Richards like put a lot of his own influence and spin onto the character.
Right.
So. There was something about him saying, like, you know, Larry David kind of wrote him as, like, being dumb. Mm-hmm. And he was like, and I kind of made it like, no, everyone's just dumber than me. So, like, so Kramer kind of thinks of himself as smarter than everybody else, or, like, he's got some inside info on everything that people don't know about.
Gotcha.
And that seems to work. Like, it really does.
Yeah, it really does.
And also he was just like, yeah, and when I started combing my hair, I just started, like, letting it fly up a little more every season. And he's like, I got my pants tailored a little higher because he really thought the socks was funny. Like
it
is, yeah.
It's really funny. Think about like all these comedic people who used to do shit like that. Like Urkel's a prime example of like why high water pants are funny. But think of someone like Jerry Lewis who also used to rock that same kind of look.
You know what's crazy too is like they're talking about their influences and it's like the fucking 50s and 40s. Like like he's bringing up like Jackie Gleason and stuff, and I'm like
again,
dude, I'm like, dude, whatever you
like think about the kind of clothes that Kramer wears.
Yeah,
they're very like 40s, 50s.
Well, that's the other thing too is the wardrobe lady was like, this guy brought in his own clothes. She was like, he had like 4 shirts, and then he like had to buy material so that we could make him shirts out of this stuff because he liked these wacky patterns. And like the whole idea of Kramer's outfits was like, he felt like he like hit his prime look or something in the 70s, and he kept that clothes. Like he didn't modernize trends or whatever. He kept the clothes that he liked in like the 70s. So that's why his clothes.
When he finds something he likes, he kind of sticks with it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And apparently, like the shoes that Kramer wears, he was like, those are his shoes. He always wears the same shoes, and they have like the right amount of like friction on the floor because of how many times he slid into Jerry's apartment or whatever. He's like, I need those shoes. Those are the ones. those are
like bowling shoes where you kind of slip in.
Exactly. And they were marked with like a little star on them or something to tell everybody that, oh, don't touch these Kramer shoes.
These are the Kramer shoes.
But yeah, I was like, oh, that is fucking hilarious, dude.
Honestly, like now rewatching it now, the person who has like the most memorable lines, it's usually George.
I like them all. It's I know what you're saying. Like George is definitely like the. I remember when I first started watching the show, I used to hate George. Yeah. Because of the way that everything like annoyed him. Yeah. But as I got older and like more cynical, I'm just like, this guy is more relatable. He gets this. Yeah.
He gets me. But think of all the great lines that come out. He's like, George is getting upset. Yeah. He's like, George likes spicy chicken. It's like, I love that. You remember when he's like, these are the many moods. The many sides of George Costanza. He's like, what side is this? This is Morning Mist. Yeah. Or when he talks about independent George. Yeah.
Or when he's unemployed for 3 months, it's the summer of George.
It's like the summer of George.
These are like things that like I'm sure came straight out of like that Larry Notebook.
Probably.
Like yeah. So
honestly, like Jerry plays the straight man in a very real way because for the first, I would say 2 seasons, the fact that Jerry was not an actor really came through. Like those first 2 seasons are very like he's just kind of delivering these lines, and he's really heavily relying on both Elaine and George and Kramer, like to give him something back. Yeah,
you know actually, I mean? When he was on Between Two Ferns, with Zach Galifianakis, he had a pretty good burn on him, which was he was talking to him and he was like, writer, actor, comedian. What trait of Larry David do you like the best? And I was like, that's good. He got him. He burned him. Yeah. You know what's I don't know if you ever heard of the show called Fridays.
No.
I think it's a skit comedy show. Okay. This was something else that came up in the interviews. Apparently, Larry David and Michael Richards started on this show called Fridays. Okay. And that's where they met. And yeah, Larry David looks young as hell on it, so it looks really weird to see him without white hair. But yeah, that's where Kramer got a lot of his characters and bits from and stuff. So I didn't know that.
Kramer's character has come out a couple different times in a couple of different places. His character has always been very physical.
Yeah, he was in UHF. I remember that. He was in something else, and he did play a wacky guy.
He played like a wacky butler. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it's just so weird that he found Kramer and like that became his main thing. Like it's just one of those things where like it just clicks, you know? Right. Like it's insane. It's insane how much chemistry like they all had on set, but not just that. Like how Kramer was able to make this character into like this fucking thing that grew like he talks about how popular it got, and he was saying like, I'm trying to find shirts for myself and everyone's buying them. Like he's like trying to find Kramer shirts and everyone
people were buying Kramer shirts.
People were buying Kramer clothes all of a sudden. So I'm like, I can't believe that.
The dynamic in Seinfeld is so great because it balances so many good things. Like Jerry, like I said, plays the straight man. Everything usually works out for Jerry.
Right.
Most things like it just Jerry's like supposed to be almost like the perfect comedian kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Elaine offers a female's perspective on everything.
Yeah.
George is the most cynical, like depraved part of everybody's being because that's what he is. And then Kramer is the physical comedy. That's essentially what he is.
Yeah, that's actually why they said that he was the most popular character, is because they would say, like, people in other countries would see this show, not understanding it, but they'd see Kramer fall or do something and they'd be like, oh, it's funny. That's a funny guy. Who's that guy? Kramer? He's funny. That's a funny guy. He actually has this story that, like, he would take vacations because he wanted to get away from the city and stuff. Because, you know, everybody loves him. And apparently he was like in this jungle at one point, and he was just out there, and like he passes by this little like indigenous village where these people live in huts, and that like one of them turned around and they're like, oh, Kramer, Kramer, and he was like, you got to be kidding me, and he's like, yeah, they had an extension cord coming out from like a nearby like town, and they were all watching like the same episode of Seinfeld over and over again because they. So funny. I know, I'm like, wow, like, can you imagine that, like,
being so famous that you can't get away from it?
Yeah, like, I mean, we were alive during the '90s, but like, I don't think we didn't appreciate Seinfeld until like later in our lives.
No.
But man,
it was funny to us. Like the scene, like one of the most perfect examples of what Kramer brought to the table was the episode where he's like, he comes in, he's like, the line is, "Do you guys want to have some fun?" No, I mean, do you really want to have some fun? Yeah. And then he describes hitting balls into the beach. But the sequence of events in which he just starts going, "Oh, do you really want to have some fun?" Yeah. We take our golf balls and we shoot, and we hit the golf ball, and we see it go up out there, and go. Like he makes that sound.
Yeah. Apparently, there was a show called it was called like something Margie. Another show that came on in the 50s, and he said he really liked this actress who was the main character on it, because when she would get into trouble, she would make like this sound where she would just, I can't do it. But he was just like, he really liked that the punchline to a lot of the scenes was her just making this sound. And the writers talk about it too, that they're just like, we don't really know how to end this scene, or this line isn't very funny. Mm-hmm. And Kramer would just end it with a weird sound.
He's like, giddy up.
Yeah. He would just be like, you did it. And people would laugh. And like, it was just like that extra little like fucking like strawberry on top of the cake that it needed to be like perfect. And I'm like, how do you even fucking just teach this? How do you teach something like that? You know, it's weird.
You just don't.
Yeah,
it just happens.
It's insanity. But yeah, Kramer, obviously a talented guy.
Yeah. Honestly, of all those people that have been on that show, I never thought that they would all have some, like, a good amount of success on their own. Because, like, Jerry went on to do all sorts of other things. He actually did a stand-up, like, movie comedian, which was very well praised. And now he's doing, like, comedians in cars getting coffee, which we fucking love on this show.
He did the B movie, right?
You really?
Yeah.
The B movie?
He wrote a book, too. He has a book.
Yeah.
He has, like, a children's book, so.
But Elaine, like, the craziness that has been Elaine's career is amazing. That's
pretty insane, actually. I kind of feel, too, like Elaine was absent from TV for a while before she got... Because I want to say, like, her return was, like, Old Christine.
Yeah, The New Adventures of Old Christine.
And then it was, like, Veep.
Yep.
And then, like, whatever the hell... She's doing another show now, right?
All I know is those two shows.
Really? I thought she was doing something else now. Maybe I'm...
I don't know. She got, I believe, breast cancer for a little while. And so now that she's recovering from it, she's finishing the last season of Veep.
Oh, okay, then never mind. Yeah, maybe that's what's happening.
But honestly, it's incredible that lady's career has been absolutely incredible.
Yeah, she's really funny. She's like Tina Fey levels of funny to me.
Yeah, very much.
Where she just like she just feels like a smart woman who knows how to like I don't know how to put it, because she also has that kind of Kramer trait too, where like the line can be written on paper, but the way she delivers it is just like it just adds like that Elaine like
touch to it.
Yeah, that makes it super funny. I don't know.
Honestly, like, you're right, because in the first few seasons of Seinfeld, I would say like 1 through 4, she had the big hair.
Yeah.
Like, she had like her hair was kind of out of control, and like she would make it like this big wall of hair in the front part of her head. And then later on, like, I guess she tried to really differentiate herself, because she like straightened it out and made it a lot more like,
she's got a lot of crazy hairstyles. You know, her best moments though, in my opinion, and I think the writers caught wind of this too, was that when she's paired up with like an old man, it's so fucking funny. Like
it's her and Jerry Stiller.
Yeah, like her and George's dad have like really good chemistry, I feel like. But like that whole season where she's working for Mr. Pitt.
Oh my god.
That is the best shit. Or when she's working.
These socks won't stay.
Yeah.
Up. That's why I got you the title. Let's forget about those.
Or like Mr. Peterman.
Mr. Peterman was great
like,
too.
Just like these. I guess it's just like the polar opposite of her, right? Like a young woman to like an older man is like. But I don't know why it works so well. Like her being driven crazy, and her having to keep like her sanity, you know, to keep this job or whatever she's doing is just, it's perfect. I love it.
Like the other time where she kept eating poppy seed bagels. So her pee didn't pass like some sort of weird drug test, and so she had to get Mrs. Seinfeld to pee in a cup.
Yeah, because she wants to go on this trip with Peterman, but he thinks that she didn't pass the drug test, that she's...
Because for some reason poppy seeds come out like cocaine or something in a...
Because opium's made from poppy seeds.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. But like she's like, I need your urine, Miss Seinfeld.
Yeah.
She's like, well, should I use a juice cup? She's like, it doesn't matter.
One of Elaine's best scenes to me is where somebody comes to stay over. And they're about to miss their plane in the morning. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my gosh, it's a boyfriend, or it's a gentleman caller who she had met like on the plane. And he was staying with her. Yeah. While like he was gonna go on another plane, but the sequence where she wakes up and realizes that he's gonna be late.
Yeah, because she's trying to get rid of this guy.
She can't stand him.
And it's like this. It's a single shot of. It's like maybe like 2 minutes of her like running around, trying to pack everything for this guy. And she's like, oh, like her hair's a mess and everything. And it's the morning. It's so.
It's funny because there's this one part where he's like, what does he say? He says, "I need my shoes." And then she stands there like a kid having to pee, like. Pacing, like standing, but she's like shaking her head. She's like, what? You need what? And he's like, shoes. He's like, here, you want shoes? Here's some shoes. Let's go.
Yeah. That's what makes it funnier too. It's like the camera's on her the whole time. Yeah. And like people are talking off screen to her. It's great. But yeah, we got to wrap this up because this was supposed to be like a half-hour podcast, but it's been like fucking an hour. What are these final thoughts?
Final thoughts from me anyway. If you haven't yet, get Celeste on any system, honestly, because I believe it's on like PlayStation and Xbox One, and Switch. I would recommend it on Switch only because the handheld mode gives you like 1-to-1, button press everything, and you're gonna need that for some of these tight corners. So like honestly, you need.
That makes sense.
You need some good ass response time.
Yeah, I've been playing Devil May Cry on that HD TV and it's killing me.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I need a monitor.
I'm telling you. That's why his excuses on PlayTunes is like, I can't play very well because
it's exactly what it is.
Lag.
Dude, I was playing Devil May Cry 4 and I'm like, I can't do shit. I can't do shit on this TV. I can't do anything. And also that game's like a million times faster than DMC 5.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend Seinfeld if you have Hulu. Or if you have a television, you just turn it on. It's probably on somewhere.
By the way, I just want to say this really quick. Because Steven had a great idea while we were driving around the other day. And if anybody from Hulu or Netflix or anything is listening, his suggestion was he gets to pick out 5 shows of a certain era. So like if you have Family Matters, Seinfeld, Friends, anything like that. And then you could be like, now shuffle these all together and just let me play out random episodes from each one of these things. It's almost like curating your own TGIF.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great idea, honestly.
Yeah, and like if for me personally, it'd be like, all right, let me get like a block of Seinfeld, and then it goes over to like Friends or whatever.
Right, and give me a little Family Matters, and then right before I go to sleep, I don't know, throw in some Tool Time.
Yeah, Cheers.
Some Home Improvement.
Honestly, like Cheers. I remember Cheers would always come on like at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hulu, get on that, please. I know you're listening. Please incorporate that as soon as next week. All right, so I'm gonna be expecting that. I'm rubbing my hands together. I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm expecting.
You can
that.
probably hear that.
I'm expecting that soon. But no, we are Radio Toons Podcast on SoundCloud. We are Radio Toons Podcast on iTunes.
Yeah, make sure you type all of it out, like Radio Toons Podcast.
Is that how it comes up?
Yeah,
okay.
that will make sure you actually get it because it's part of the title. So yeah.
And okay, if you listen on SoundCloud, I'm sorry. I know I lag on these episodes because just like uploading this to everywhere. Yeah. I forget sometimes, and then we got the gameplay, and I gotta work and whatever.
Seaman works really hard on these guys.
Yeah, I work. Yeah, sure, whatever. No, but that does it for this week, guys. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.